It's been a pleasure. I know it's a before lunch session and difficult to hold you guys, but at the same time, I think we're going to discuss a very interesting topic, AI and FinTech, with a very, very esteemed panel members. You have heard about their introduction. They're coming from a very diversified background. And before I start, just a quick introduction from my end and a round of introduction from you all as well. I'm Ritu Verma. I head regulatory compliance at PayGlocal. We're a cross-border payments company. I am into compliance domain from almost a 2 decade and have seen this journey of how financial sector has evolved over a period of time, right from that traditional banking environment and we going to branches to bank coming into our phones and in our hands. So and this all has been possible because of AI and technology, which is building around this. Just a quick round of introduction, then we'll begin with the topic. So if we can have.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hitesh Sachdev. I'm part of ICICI Bank, and I manage startup investments and startup partnerships and innovation lab at ICICI Bank.
Hi, my name is Achyuta Ghosh. I head insights at NASSCOM. Within insights, startups is one focus area for us where we do deep research on what's the state of the startup ecosystem.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Ruchin Kumar, and I take care of business and operations for Futurex in South Asia. And I have been associated with the banking and fintech vertical since last 25 years. We have been providing IT security solutions, specifically in the field of cryptography. So these crypto modules which provide data confidentiality, integrity to the financial transactions. And so welcome all, and thanks for attending this session. Thank you.
To begin with the topic, I think when we talk about financial services, we have seen technology and specifically AI these days across different platforms. To name a few things, like when we go to a banking platform, we are not talking to an individual. Now we are talking with chatbots, which is AI. We are when we are going to get a loan, it's not someone who is doing a risk underwriting manually. It is again based on AI, based on data points which are running at the back end. So these are just a few examples, but if you look at the financial services sector across, AI is running right from fraud detection to customer services to risk underwriting everywhere in the ecosystem. And in fact, I started my career with ICICI Bank, where I have seen that how branches used to operate, how things used to operate over there, and now working with a fintech where we first talk about AI when we think about a business or a product, right? So Hitesh, my first question to you is, being part of the banking ecosystem, how you see that startups are kind of collaborating with banks, to say so, and helping customers and industry as a whole, and what is the role of AI over there?
So since the topic is on AI, let me ask few questions to the audience. I mean, how many of you feel that AI will replace humans? You can raise the hand, sir. Largely, yes. Yeah. So only one person thinks that AI can replace humans. So maybe there's a not replace, okay. Yeah, some of the jobs, maybe like autonomous cars and stuff, maybe it can be a replacement for human in that particular job, or maybe 50%, 80% of the jobs can be replaced by AI, what humans do, but it can be the degree of the improvement which it will bring can be 100% more efficient or 1000% more efficient than what humans do. So that means second, let me ask second questions. How many of you believe that AI can be CEO of your company? None. CEO takes decisions, right? And if you train your models right with a lot of data and emotions and emotional data as well, maybe you will see some of the companies where AI can be the CEO of your company, right? I mean, having laid this background, let me answer the question, Ritu. The entire journey started with the norm that the fintechs will compete with the banks or large institutions, and then the narrative changed, right? Both large institutions and startups realize that there is a lot more to gain working together and collaborating, and create a win-win situation. So startups bring agility, innovation, a new way of thinking on table, whereas institutions, large institutions, bring trust, a lot of data, financial muscle power on the table. So combining both this can create a superlative product, and the end goal is to serve the customer better, right? So when we started this journey, there were a lot of questions that why you want to work with startups, and it was like startups will get closed down, or they'll be acquired by someone. A lot of connotations in terms of fear or concerns. And then we said, let's take leap of faith and start working. And when we started working with startups, and I'm talking this 8-9 years back, initially obviously there were hiccups, but when we saw the results, right, it really started creating buying amongst the entire team, that this is the way to go. So there are only two ways to grow, right, as an organization. One is organic way of growing, where you put up your branches, you set up your digital channels, and the other way is that you partner with startups, where partnership can be for us the objectives are very clear, that if we partner, it should help us to generate some additional revenue, or it should help us to reduce our cost by using the technology or the products of the startups, or it can be also to help mitigate risks in our businesses, right? So these are clearly laid down objectives, and if you and one is if you partner with the right counterparty. For us, working with right counterparty is very important, because when you partner and offer these solutions to your customers, you don't want any hiccups, because at the end of the day, the customers will look up to you as an organization, and not to whom you have partnered with, or whose product you are offering to the customers. So to that extent, we want to be sure that we partner with the right counterparties, right startups. We also do thorough checks on compliance, on the data privacy, because we in a partnership model, you also end up sharing a lot of data with your partners, right? So you want to be sure that the data which you share is safe with them. So having said, we created multiple sets of partnerships, and it has scaled up really well. Like for example, video KYC platform, we have been working with a startup called Workaps. I think it's scaled up like anything, right? We are using satellite data analytics, using SatSure's ML models, working really well for us in agri domain. So for bank statement analyzer, or a lot of APIs on authentication and KYC check, we are using Perfios, Karza. So I can keep talking of many such examples where these partnerships are not small scale partnerships, but these are large scale partnerships, and they are handling volumes, and their platforms have kind of been resilient at a scale also, right? So to my mind, the collaboration between the larger institutions, banks and startups is a win-win situation. And rather than thinking about competition or competing, one can bring their own strengths on the table and offer better solutions to the customers.
I think, Hitesh, I couldn't agree more on this point, that larger organizations and fintechs are collaborating together with the use of AI, and the financial ecosystem is definitely benefiting from it. But you also touched upon a very important aspect where the data privacy also plays a crucial role, right? And now India has seen data privacy law and rules which are there in the ecosystem. Now the use of AI also leads to challenges in terms of whether your data is secure or not. You want to be 100% sure as a customer that whatever you are sharing, or whatever particular financial institution or a fintech is doing, they are doing it within the boundaries. And hence my next question is to Achyuta, because he is coming from an industry body where what do you see that over a period of time, how the policy framework will evolve around data privacy and AI? so that the customer interest is protected, at the same time the growth is maintained?
I have a feeling that, we probably in the past, we've looked at products, building products first, and then thinking about privacy, or then thinking about responsible AI, ethics, right? All that coming in. And then, of course, the policy framework and all. I think this, instead of a serial order, we probably need to make this go hand in hand in terms of when you are thinking of your product, when you are thinking of developing something, build privacy into the model right at the start. Build ethics into the model right at the start. And this is something that we've seen in the past also, and companies are changing that now. They're actually trying to ensure that right from day one, they have ethics in place, they have the ethical AI in place, they have your, the privacy as a factor in place, and the continuous monitoring system. How do you basically build a continuous monitoring system which takes feedback, looks at performance, and keeps updating itself, right? So I think some of that is there. From a policy framework perspective, I think we work with the government a lot, even in the data protection bill that came out recently, and we've had multiple conversations, iteration. I think this is not the end. We'll continue to, evolve as we go. But I think when you look at the data, there are multiple layers of privacy. How do you anonymize? How do you ensure that only the right amount of data is exposed, and that is not exposed, and it's the right of the customer at the end of it. So I think it's an evolving process. We are some way there today, but I think this will continue as we go forward.
Yeah, I think policy around AI, and when it comes to fintech financial services, it's an evolving thing, and over a period of time we'll see that how regulations around it get framed, and how industry reacts to it.
I have one more point to it.
Sure.
I think any guesses, we do an adoption study of AI across verticals. Any guesses which in India is the highest adopting vertical? It's actually automotive. It's manufacturing, and within manufacturing it's automotive. The second one is retail. Banking is below average, and the lowest is healthcare. And the two things that are common between healthcare and banking is regulations. Regulations, right? That actually prevents you from really going forward and adopting at a scale as compared to other sectors. Healthcare, way back. Banking is still a little bit below average, but the general impression, and when we started our research, we thought, no, banking should be right at the top, but it isn't. And it's exactly for the same reason that, we need clarity before we jump in. And even though you look at our startup ecosystem, today we have 35,000 tech startups in India. Almost 1/3, 1/4 of them are fintech startups. So it's not that from a startup innovation perspective, it is lacking in India. But from an adoption perspective, I think we can still do a lot more, and it all depends on whether we are able to get our policy framework updated.
I hope it doesn't become a chicken and egg kind of a situation where we don't have policy, and hence the adoption is less. And adoption is less because the policy is lagging behind. But it looks like in future we'll have a good policy framework around this, so that adoption can increase even in banking and financial services segment as well. And around this topic only, I would like to kind of bring in Ruchin as well, because he has such a vast experience in this domain. What are your views on how do we prevent that data is kept confidential, or is revealed only to the intent, or as per the consent of a customer or a user? How those checks are to be ensured across at least financial services?
So while artificial intelligence is bringing a lot of changes, lot of disruption in the industry, specifically in the finance industry, there are a lot of challenges which are emerging because of AI. And I can see data privacy is number one. These AI models are using very large data sets and exposing the attack surface by virtue of it, and these data sets can include personal identifiable information, financial information, which can be attacked, can be breached, and can be misused. So it is posing a great threat. Now, when it comes to AI, we should also keep in mind that attackers are also are doing the AI modeling, and they are also using various AI tools for newer attacks. So the challenges are much more greater than the last in the last decade, which we have seen. Now the sophisticated attacks are coming on the critical resources, and that's where we should ensure, as Achyuta was saying earlier, that the data privacy measures, security measures should be part from the very beginning of the project or from the very beginning of the idea, so that the entire life cycle of this critical information is safeguarded. We cannot do the entire digital banking since the days of RTGS, when the first time we implemented some cryptography in the entire system for digital signing and encryption of financial messages over SFMS, which was run by IDRBT. So from that, there is I have seen a lot of evolution in the entire process. Now when we are talking about AI, I see there are some problems like biases and fairness. It is lacking sometimes, since by unintentionally these AI models can propagate some of the biases already there in the data, and they can affect our business operations for loan disbursement, for financial credit rating, and then for many other purposes. So apart from that, then there are some trust factors and regulations which will be having problems in terms of getting audited, because specifically the artificial intelligence models which are coming from deep algorithms, deep learning algorithms, they are just type of black box, and they don't expose, it is very hard to interpret what exactly they are doing inside, and that leads to lack of trust, as well as for threat to regulatory compliances sometimes. And then there is of course data security risk. These AIs are exposing larger surface for the attacks. While we are building the AI models and implementing it in our projects, we should also take care of certain regulatory standards, GDPR for we have to cater to European customers, and then we have a DPDP Act in place now in India. Also the guidelines from regulators like RBI, SEBI, IRDA, they are also doing some great job in order to publish some of these guidelines to help all the participants in order to safeguard the AI models.
I think Nirupama ma'am is online. So just would like to kind of get her thoughts around how the policy framework is evolving in financial ecosystem around AI in fintech.
My take is actually quite simple in this. See, at the end of the day, what is AI supposed to help us do? It is supposed to help kind of ease computation. It's supposed to help us in processing a lot of data in an instant, and it's supposed to aid as far as policy making also is concerned. I think in a very simplistic form, if one were to address it, this is what we're looking at. Keeping that in mind, I think at the end of the day, there are two things that we need to be a little not worry maybe, but maybe keep our eye on the line as far as two things. One is the good side of it. Given that financial data is huge, you have a lot of data that is generated in a split second across different kinds of transactions. I think AI in the financial sector will help make a lot of decisions, fast decisions, and more accurate decisions. But the other side, or it's a double-edged sword, the flip side of that also is, as we know, AI requires training, and at this point, whether AI can be construed as, anything that comes from AI as irrefutable, which means that if there is any kind of problem or if there is a liability that ends up, particularly when it involves retail investors or investment decisions, the question is, where does the liability get based? Who will accept that liability? So I think that's the double-edged sword that we're looking at, particularly in financial sector, where at the end of the day, any regulation within the financial sector is aimed at protecting the investor and particularly the retail investor. I think in this context, it becomes very important to look at how AI will actually develop. So the question therefore is, what would be the usage? To what extent will financial sector entities be allowed to use AI? Would it be only from a back-end perspective where it is processing data and all of that? or would you kind of move it to the front end and as a substitute for person to person interaction? And to what extent would you even use that? Because then it's a question of where would the liability exist. This is how I see. I think these are the fundamental questions that need to be answered, and answers to this is how I see financial sector evolving and coping with AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights. And I think during the conversation, what we are realizing is that definitely AI is helping us a lot, and there are various use cases which not just exist for the financial services ecosystem, but across. But at the same time, AI is running on data points and technology which has been built by us. Now, what we need to consider is that what is the level of human oversight or intervention is required when we are saying that we are implementing AI. Because what we have realized is that in any AI-based implementation, there is a possibility of having a discriminatory approach, or there is a possibility of having some opaque decision making which may exist by virtue of the AI implementation. What is the fine balance which exists between this AI implementation versus human oversight which is required on that AI? And I would like to kind of get your insights on this.
Yeah, so first of all, I'll so slight disagreement, Achyuta, what you mentioned, banking, so traditionally AI models, ML models, banks have been using for quite long time. Whether it is hyper personalization, or whether it is predicting delinquencies, or many other use cases. But when it comes to Gen AI, the foundational models came into being, let's say 21, 22. And what we have seen in AI journey, I think three aspects, right? One is foundational models. And we have seen that all the foundational models we are looking today are all built in the Western world, okay? Whether it is OpenAI, Gemini, whatever you take, it's all, Western world. India is trying to build now their own foundational models, like we have Sarvam, we have Krutrim, we have now Bharat Gen, and there is a lot of work going on to build India-led foundational models, and which is very important because, from the data privacy perspective, from the perspective of over-dependence on the, Western foundational models, right? Second layer is application layer, where we will find plenty of startups, and some of them are, I would say, creating wrappers on the foundational models, right? Modifying Llama 3, fine-tuning it, creating prompt engineering layers. But there also I feel that one needs to really build deeper vertically integrated approach to bring meaningful, value to the end users. So that's the only application side. And third layer is your infra layer, where we need to build that under AI mission. We are building, GPUs. 10,000 crores has been allocated, right, for building the infrastructure. And there, I think it will take some more time while we are building that infrastructure. It's very costly. Today, we are also seeing foundational models which can actually work on CPU and versus GPU, right? So how much you invest today in infra will be useful, that we don't know. So they're very tough calls, right? And it's not smaller amounts of investment, it requires large amount of investments. So that's the landscape, right? And when we talk about human right, agentic AI is somewhere which is kind of started gaining a lot of momentum, but there would be certain aspects where there will be human in the loop, right? For some functions, some aspects, there will be human in the loop kind of a situation where still, when it comes to emotions or complexities, it will take time for models to learn and to imbibe or mimic humans, right? It's still some, we are not completely there. It will take some time, and then we'll see a lot of humanoids, agentic, and then we will move towards humanoids, right? Where most of the functions robots would take over, right? And it's not very far. We've seen some of the research being done by, let's say, Boston Dynamics, or the Elon Musk's team also, kind of, right? So we've seen those research, and some of them are live examples. So that will also, but we have still some distance to cover there, and that's where we feel, at least I feel, that there will be a human in the loop kind of a approach which will keep kind of, till that matures, right?
From the tech side, we do every 5 years, we look at how the technology industry is evolving, and we are doing that analysis. We do that with McKinsey every year at NASSCOM, and we are doing a 2030 analysis. We believe that a quarter of coding effort will be done by agents by 2030. A quarter. And I think it may be conservative. We may be higher than that, lower than that, I don't know, but that's what we are going with. To the question that Ritu asked on where do we see more AI, right? I mean, and where do we see more humans, and especially from a fintech, example context, we think that repeatable tasks, routine tasks, where you have defined an outcome, which actually addresses human fatigue, those are areas where we continue to see a stronger focus on AI. Tasks like, say, for example, money laundering, fraud detection, customer onboarding, right? You look at analytics, compliance, some of these pieces where, rules are defined, you are able to analyze large volumes of data, you're quickly able to do that, and most global organizations and Indian organizations are all working towards that. That doesn't mean human on the loop, HOLT, not human in the loop. Human on the loop should always be there in both the cases, whether it is AI or human there. The second part is where we continue to see humans there. Wherever you see empathy, wherever you see strategic decision making, wherever you see bias, potential for bias to creep in. I mean, bias, it's just like I was meeting a Gujarati friend just now before meeting, and suppose the model has a bias that you probably would use that factor to discriminate where you come from, to decide on whether you want to pay out a particular loan or not. Suppose a person has been laid off, right? But huge potential for that person to pay the loan that is there. But is AI able to look at that? Because the rule might be, is the income coming on a monthly basis or not, right? And so it's not a one-size-fit-all policy. I think for each of these decisions, right, even credit, lending, you have to have a human in the system, because you will need to make those choices, which won't be defined, which will be on a case-to-case basis. So I think human in the loop will be there definitely for a really, really long time. That is not going to go away. But it will be at an organization, what the organization is really looking for, what is the aim, what is the risk profile of the organization, what is the goals that they have in mind, and that's where I think the balance between automation and human will come in. So it won't be the same for all of you.
Thank you. So Ruchin, just because we are running short of time and I've got an update from the team that we have to close quickly, wanted to get your quick thoughts around when we are talking about AI in fintech, what are the key challenges do you believe will come up in the near future?
Yeah, so AI will become as intelligent as much data we can pour into it, and define you can say good models in order to utilize it in our projects. Here AI can also behave like a monkey with a gun if at all that model is poisoned by someone, or we have not taken care of our basics, that is the security of the information, the integrity of the information, that we are providing it the right information. I have seen AI quite dominantly coming into authentication, where we have now adaptive authentications. We are not relying on one factor, two factor, or biometrics, or some defined factors. But the AI can take decision that if a person is doing some transaction here in India, and meanwhile his information is also coming from other sources that he's traveling to China, then probably AI can enable different, can ask some more questions, can ask something more to get to be presented in order to authenticate that person on the financial applications. Apart from that, AI can also play a great role in terms of what information can be provided to person on need to know basis. He doesn't require to access management information or financial information if he doesn't belong to financial group. So AI can put great controls over there as well. but still we need to be looking at compliances and regulations, because regulators are doing a great job, and these regulations are getting evolved at the moment. In order to be compliant, in order to be keeping our AI models transparent and answerable, because of course they need to be fair and transparent in terms of justifying their decisions, what they are taking and on what basis they are taking, to the customers and to the regulators. So that is the foremost important thing, and it will basically, again, what kind of AI model we build depends on the cultural and the human, on the culture and human in that particular organization. So I don't think that they will be, AI is going to replace human decisions. After all, this is all our data, human data, which we are feeding to it, and there is no limit to it. So in coming days, in coming years, more and more data is going to getting into these models. AI will become wiser, but of course, again, there will be at the top always human decisions and human intellect will come in picture.
Thank you, and thank you all. I think we've received great insights from all the panel members. Would like to try to summarize this in one sentence, that AI can be a brilliant enabler, but it can never become a master, specifically in the financial services ecosystem. When we talk about the human intervention, it will always remain, even if the AI grows, persists, and in the financial services system as well, right? So, and hence would like to thank each one of you for sharing your experiences and insights on this wonderful topic. Any questions? If we have time, we can take one questions. We have been told no by the organizers. So we all are here. In case you have any questions, please do reach out to us. And thank you so much for all the panel members for taking time.